Alright, I changed the design of the CNC machine. Well, I'm still going to use this the base plate, or the base part, which is a aluminum extrusion square here, and this crossbar. But I'm using a steel channel, and this ain't, you know, this is what is this? This is like 1/8 inch thick, I think. And this is going to be welded. Well, all these holes is going to be bolted to the V slots, and then once it's all bolted together, then it's going to be, the edges are all going to be welded. So it's going to be a welded steel frame, and this steel is going to be the runners that the linear rails sit on that go across. So yeah, this is going to be aluminum extrusion with a steel channel exoskeleton. And I was going to do the part that came up, you know, the X, or the Z, this part. I was going to do this part the same, you know. I was going, because this is going to sit on there like, would have sat on there like this. And I was going to do it the same and kind of make a steel exoskeleton, but I think I'm just going to do away with this piece altogether. And the base is going to have the aluminum extrusion in there, but the top part is going to be nothing but steel, welded steel. Now I've got this stuff, which is pretty thick. I think it's 1/4 down here, and or I mean it's 1/8 down here and 1/4 up on these channels. I don't know, but this is some thick solid stuff. And this is a little thicker than the other one too. It's like a 3/16 or whatever the next thicker one is. So these are going to go here. So this is going to be the X axis. This is going to have we're going to have these across here. It's already drilled for them. So that's going to be across there, and that's going to be the X axis. And so yeah, this top portion is going to be all welded steel. And besides what you see right here, I've got a lot more steel that I'll be using to make just supports. You know, it's going to have like an A-frame support at the bottom of the legs, and it's going to have some more supports up in this area. And you know, I'm just going to weld on as much support and make it as rigid as possible. I do have one issue with this, because these two side pieces, this super thick solid stuff that I found just laying around, I already had. I didn't have to buy. But there's the one problem. This dent that was already in this piece of metal, and what it's done is it's made this a little bow. So it bows a little up there. So I'm going to have to be real careful when I put this together. I tried to get that bow out of there, but this is some thick stuff. There's no getting it out. So I'm just going to have to account for that, and when I go to square everything up right before I weld it. So it'll be a little tricky, but I do want to use this piece of metal because it's so thick and strong. And this side is nice and flush. So, but yeah, this is going to be the top. It's going to be all metal, welded metal. And this is all going to be welded at the seams, and then I'll put like a little cross beam, a crossbar over the top here, you know, for support all around. And you know, this center part's going to get a piece of metal on it too, and be welded at where it comes together. It's going to be all welded steel, really. And so yeah, I mean, I haven't done a whole lot of work to this. Haven't had a whole lot of chance to do this because basically I cut out all the steel and I drilled all the holes and I spray painted it. And that's basically what I got done this weekend. And worked on the design and stuff. And so this stuff I got. These are the holes for the spindle holder. And then I got these all ground out so the heads, the bolt heads don't interfere, and I can have this just right on the edge there, even. And this part. So, and then this is going to be, that's another thing, I gotta put the bearing blocks onto this side. And this side, this piece here, let me see if I can zoom out. Is this thing zoomed in or what? No. So I can put this is going to mount to the X-axis rails that go across with 6 bearings, 3 on each, and then it's going to have bearings mounted, the bearing blocks mounted to it also, which those bearing blocks are going to mount to this, and this is going to have the spindle. So this whole big thing of this plate and everything with it is going to be up in the air, and that's why I wanted all this sturdy steel. So yeah, it's coming together. I probably won't get to the part where I actually weld everything together until next weekend now. Another part I'm working on is putting the extra fuse box in. I still need to get the wire and the what do you call that? The conduit, the piping the wire goes in. I gotta get those 2 things yet and run the extra fuse box. And then I'm gonna work on this aluminum, this X carriage here. I'm gonna get this all finished up throughout the week after work and stuff, and then on the weekend I'll be ready to put everything together and go through the hard, long process of making sure it's as square as possible, and then welding it together. And then, you know, if it isn't perfectly square, you know, everybody's all, you know, a little too gung-ho about that, because this is going to be the base plate, this 1/2-inch aluminum, and I'll just use a fly cutter, what do you call it, face mill. I'll face mill that base plate with a fly cutter, and that will mill the base plate square with whatever the heck the head is, the spindle motor is. So that'll just square the base to the spindle head, and they'll be square to each other, and it doesn't matter anything else as long as they're square to each other. So yeah, here's an update on the CNC build. I'm gonna go into steel instead of all extruded aluminum. Hopefully it doesn't rattle like a fucking hopefully it doesn't rattle bad. That's one thing I'm trying to stay away from, but alright, later.